Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the magnificent, the all-improved, the upgunned Stormvermin. Yes, here they are. They are absolutely gorgeous. They look fantastic, even if I do say so myself. And it's thanks to Games Workshop for sending me these early to build up and paint with all of you. So we are going to jump in and we're going to start doing that because I'm excited. These are very, very cool. Now, they've all been primed in Grey Seer, and we're going to be painting these 5 for the purposes of the video. Now, we're probably not going to see much from this guy and this guy because we've actually got the 3 unique ones here in the Champion, the Banner Bearer, and the Musician. However, if anything individual does come up, we shall, of course, address it in the video. Now, we're going to try and keep things reasonably simple here. It's not like with Clanrats, where we're going to do loads of different ones. We're going for that classic, lovely box art red that we can see. And, well, this is to go with my Kritok Foul Blade, basically. So, we're just going to move a bunch of these to one side, like that. And we're going to focus on the Champion for now. That seems sensible. So, the colour we're going to be using first is Flesh Tearers Red. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the Stormvermin's armour. So with all that Flesh Tearers Red applied, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of their clothes. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take 2 colours, but we're not going to use them at the same time. Instead, we're doing 2 different colours in one take. You'll see what I mean. So we're going to be using Guilliman Flesh and Agrax Earthshade. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by taking Guilliman Flesh, and we're going to apply this over top of all of the skin and hair of our Champion. Just like that sort of thing. And we're going to do this over, well, as many of them as you like. But, as mentioned, we have the other colour, which is Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the skin and hair of some of the others. So you can kind of just alternate this, so you end up with 5 and 5. And indeed, if you want more, skin and hair recipes, we do have our Clanrats video, which you can check out here on the channel, where we go through a number of different ones. But just for these, we're just going to go with the 2. I'm going to keep them very, very simple and similar to each other. Just like that sort of thing. with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Carroburg Crimson. And, well, we are still waiting for the skin to dry. So, we're going to take the Carroburg Crimson and we're going to apply this over top of the tails. And so with those tails now done, what we can do is we can take some Wyldwood and we can apply this over the top of the fur of our Stormvermin. Like so. And we're also going to apply this over the top of all the wood. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Ratling Grime and we're going to apply this over the top of any of the wraps and grips on any of the weapons. Like so. However, what we're also going to do with the Ratling Grime is we're going to take up our musician and we're going to apply this over the top of the beater and the drum skin. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the remaining belts and pouches and things like that. But we're also going to apply this over the top of the banner. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do something quite cool that I saw from Darcy Bono. And we're going to try and sort of replicate a similar thing using the contrast paints and the way we usually do things around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion, as mentioned. And we're going to apply this over the top of the kind of bottom half of the banner. We're going to get it on there like this. Looking nice. I'm going to bring it up to round about sort of a bottom third of it. Like that sort of thing. Then what we're going to do is we're going to wash the brush. Grab some more Black Legion here. And then we're going to start stippling it up the banner, like that sort of thing, quite roughly. I'm going to do it along the trail as well. Like so. And then we're just going to leave that to fully dry. Well, before we do that, we're going to do the other side as well. Once that Black Legion's fully dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red. And we're going to apply this over the top of the banner. Just whilst we're waiting for all that to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey and we're going to apply this over top of any of the kind of grisly trophies that some of them are carrying. Like this guy has got a hand just there on his belt, and we've got a head up here as well. Next up, we're going to take some Warp Lightning and we're going to apply this over top of the two little warp stone bits on our champion. And they are here on the pistol, like that, and here on the spear. And so with that then done, we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over top of all of our metallic details across all of our Stormvermin. So with that all done, just whilst we're waiting for all of that Iron Warriors to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur and apply this over the top of his claws, his nose, and his teeth, and the inside of his ears. And with that done, we're then going to use Black Legion and we're going to apply this over top of any little rats, excluding the tails. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Runelord Brass and we're going to apply this over the top of any jewellery and over the top of the kind of brace on each of the spears and the cross guards and things like that. As well as any other little details you want to be brassy. So with that all done, it's now time to add some shades to the model. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Creed Camo. That's going to be our first shade. And we're going to apply this over the top of the clothes. Now you don't have to do this over the top of all of them. What you should in fact do is do this over sort of 2 or 3 of them. With that Creed Camo applied, we're then going to take Athonian Camoshade and we're going to apply this over another set, so another 2 or 3 of your Stormvermin. And with all of that done, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to apply this over top of our remaining Stormvermin's clothes. However, what we're also going to do with the Reikland Fleshshade is we're going to use this to shade all the red armor and any of our little rats' tails that we painted with the Black Legion. So we can get it all over like that, basically. With all that Reikland Fleshshade applied, we're then going to take some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to use this to shade all the metallics, as well as paint in all of the bones, which we haven't done yet. And for our final shade, we're going to take some Nuln Oil. I'm going to apply this over the top of the banner. So with that all done, as you can see, our Stormvermin are now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and they're looking pretty cool. However, we're not going to leave them there, of course not. We're going to take them to the next level, and we're going to do this by adding some highlights and a little bit of freehand. So, the first colour we're going to be using is some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. And we're going to be using this to highlight all of our red details, including the banner as well. But we're just going to start here on the armour. Just like this. With all of that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Cadian Fleshtone. And we're going to use this to add some little spot highlights to the sharpest points of all the red. So with that all done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull, and we're going to use this to highlight things like the Stormvermin's teeth, like that sort of thing. However, we're also going to use the Stormvermin to highlight all of the clothes except for the ones that we recovered with Creed Camo. So this is going to include our Athonian Camoshade ones and our Reikland Fleshshade ones. And And with that Screaming Skull all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Deepkin Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight the clothes on our greeny boys. So these are the two that we did. With the Greek camo. So with that all done, our next colour is going to be some thinned down Pallid Witch Flesh, and we're going to use this to highlight all the skin, including across that of the Agrax Earthshade guy and the Guilliman Flesh guy. So with that all done, our next colour is going to be some thinned down Eshin Grey. I'm going to use this to highlight the black of the banner. We don't really need to do the rest of it because the details are so small. They kind of just act like a recess to break up the rest of the miniature. But if there are some black details that are a little bit more prevalent that you do want to highlight like this, you can do. For example, there is that tassel on the trophy rack of the champion. That could be one. As could the hair of our head on this very banner. And with that Eshin Grey all applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Stormvermin Fur. I'm going to use that to add just a little spot highlight to the sharpest points of the black. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to add some freehand to the banner. Now it doesn't actually have to be perfect because it is a Skaven banner, but there is a pretty decent design on the one on the box art, so we're just going to follow that. And the colour we're going to be using for it is some thinned down Morghast Bone. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up here by putting a kind of dot of the Morghast Bone like that, and then we're going to come kind of like this, just sort of tracing it. I'm going to leave another dot just there like so, and then we're going to connect the two. Like so. Just grab a little bit more paint. And we're just going to kind of widen out that line a little bit. And just make it a little bit more bold and striking. Then what we're going to do is on either side of this end, add another little dot there, and a little dot there. And we're going to then connect those two dots, like so. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to start by adding a little dot here, and a little dot roughly in line with this one. And come across like this, like that, and draw a line coming across, and then roughly in line with this end here, I'm going to kind of come across, leave a dot there, And then leave a dot there as well. And then we're going to connect those two. And then we're going to just start kind of widening out lines. Just like that sort of thing. Just going to bring this one down just a little bit more. To around about there, like that. And again. Like this sort of thing. Then what we're going to do is just underneath it is we're actually going to draw a little arrowhead. Like that. And then we're just going to bring it down like so. And then you can just add more and more lines, more and more little kind of runes and things like that, in a similar way to how we did Visit Scour. Just take your time until you're happy with it. So with that all done, the banner's looking pretty cool. So what we're going to do is move on, and we're going to take some thinned down Ironbreaker. I'm going to use this to highlight all the silver. And with all that Ironbreaker applied, we're going to finish things off now by taking some thinned down Canoptek Alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight our brassy bits. And so with our bases now complete, our Stormvermin are now finished, and I really like these guys. They're very tasty on the tabletop. They have the same sort of bodyguard rule as things like the Crypt Guard for the Flesh Eater Courts have, which makes them very powerful indeed. Wholeheartedly recommend having them for any Skaven collection, and they just look really cool, you know, heavily armoured rats. Who doesn't love that kind of thing? If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.